Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I came to the biggest restoration hardware store in Florida. This place is massive. It's a 4-story, 80,000 square foot showroom in West Palm Beach. It has a rooftop restaurant, wine bar, and tropical estate gardens. So it's really fancy here. Now, full disclosure, I'm not the biggest fan of this brand. It's just not my style, but I know a lot of people are obsessed with it. But anyways, I'm here to give you a full tour so we can see their furniture, styling, decor, and just take as much inspiration as we can. So let's head inside and see what all the hype is about. Alright friends, this store really blew me away with how big and beautiful it is. It's huge, very stylish and just really impressive. But instead of just walking you around aimlessly, I thought it would be more engaging for this video to look a little deeper. So while we are wandering around, let's try to analyze together how the designers work, what tricks they use, and what the main pieces are that make up the DNA of this brand and style that became so popular and attractive for a lot of people, especially really wealthy people with money who I believe are the brand's main target audience. And the first thing that caught my eye was, of course, the color palette. The whole store is filled with neutral colors, mostly different shades of beige and brown, mixed in with black and white for contrast. You won't really see any other colors here, so everything sticks to that super popular so-called old money style, just a lot of calming neutral tones that make everything feel really elegant and luxurious. And for metals, I noticed they mostly use gold and brass accessories. I didn't really see any silver or black metallic accents anywhere. And speaking of silver, I also didn't notice any gray shades either, which is interesting because gray is usually considered a neutral color too, but here they seem to avoid it and stick to only warm tones like beiges and creams. The second thing that stands out is the scale, especially when it comes to the size of the decor and accessories. Everything is so massive, you almost feel like you shrunk down to Lilliputian size. You're just not going to find small size decor pieces here, except for this tiny reading floor lamp that I kept seeing all over the store. Everything else is seriously gigantic. For example, look at what they use as dining table decorations. Here's this huge statue of Sphinx, and as you can see, it's taken up half of this already massive table. Or here's another table with another giant statue right in the middle. And over here, they even put an actual column on the table, which pretty much takes up the entire thing. And here's my favorite. Let me know, would you decorate your dining table like this? But what can I say? It's definitely a conversation starter. By the way, I'm not really sure if all these statues and sculptures have any historical value or if they're just designed to look antique, but either way, it definitely feels like you are in a museum. There were also a few more tables with slightly more modest decor, but still these pieces are way bigger than what you would normally find in regular stores. If you look at the console tables and dressers, you'll see they also use really oversized pieces for decor. For example, in this living room, they placed these two huge vases on the consoles right in the middle, so they pretty much block the mirrors behind them, and they put them on stands to make them look even bigger. All the other consoles had these big statement pieces like huge vases, sculptures, and statues. Some even life size. Like here, they just went ahead and put a giant statue right on top of a bathroom vanity, and you can really see a pattern. The decorators always put one big statement piece right in the center, and sometimes add lamps or books on the sides for balance, but the main focus is always in the middle. I'm pointing this out because I feel like most people, myself included, usually decorate the opposite way. Like we tend to put the bigger stuff on the sides and leave the middle kind of lower and open, but here they don't do that at all. So all the statement big pieces are always right in the center. Another thing they use everywhere is giant mirrors and wall art. It might not be super obvious on camera, but trust me, all these mirrors hanging on the walls are huge. They're way bigger than even your regular full-length floor mirrors, and this is definitely something that gives the space that grand and dramatic look. Same thing with the wall art. You are not gonna find any small or medium-sized pieces here, except for their signature style where they hang a gallery wall of several square framed artworks. But even then, because they group them so close together, it still looks like one big oversized piece. Here they basically fill up the whole wall with those square pieces, so it ends up looking like one giant artwork instead of a bunch of smaller ones. And honestly, all the art they use is just color and some texture, nothing too interesting or anything you would really stop and look at. I know it's their signature style and a lot of people love this abstract look, but in my personal opinion, it gets a little boring seeing the same thing over and over again for so many years. Another thing they use everywhere here is absolutely huge pots and plants. And especially pay your attention to the pots. Their size isn't your average pot size. I wouldn't even call them large. They're massive. And honestly, I love how it looks because whenever pots are on the smaller side, even if the plant itself is big, the whole thing ends up looking a bit underwhelming. I've noticed that professional interior designers almost always go for oversized pots and plants because the proportions just feel right. Everything looks more balanced and it instantly makes the space feel more put together. Smaller size pots never look as good and can make a room feel kind of skimpy and unfinished. But the best part is, unlike a lot of other oversized decorative pieces that really need a big space to pull off, big pots usually don't need that much space because most little corners where you would normally stick a plant can easily handle a bigger pot, and it just makes the whole area look so much richer and more high-end. And while we are talking about plants, it's worth noting that they don't really use any flowers or greenery in their interiors, except for these few big potted artificial trees. You won't find any flower arrangements, branches, or little greenery touches on the coffee tables, dining tables, or consoles. Literally nothing. And honestly, that's a big reason why, for me, their interiors feel kind of sterile and a little lifeless, because without those smaller pops of nature, the spaces can feel a bit flat and empty, I guess. Let me know if you agree with me or if you actually like that cleaner look. And speaking of flowers, or actually the lack of them, let's check out the coffee table decor too. Same thing here, no flowers, no greenery, just a few oversized decorative pieces taking center stage, keeping everything very minimal and structured. So it's usually some whimsical sculpture pieces, bowls, or coffee table books. But again, it's not your average coffee table books or bowls. Everything is really oversized. The books are massive, the bowls are huge, way bigger than anything you would typically find in regular stores. And as you can see, they don't place a lot of pieces on the coffee tables either. They don't create vignettes or overstuff them with tons of little decor items. Just like with the consoles, it's usually one or a few big statement pieces placed right in the middle. And of course, we have to talk about the lighting because it's such a huge part of their look. Their lighting game is seriously dramatic and creates that bold, luxurious atmosphere that completely transforms the way the whole space feels. So, of course, their chandeliers are oversized too, like everything else in this store. Many of them are made with tons of crystals, almost like they belong in a royal palace or something. And when you contrast that with the neutral, calming tones of the furniture and decor, along with all those antique looking statement pieces, it really creates that super dramatic and luxurious vibe. And aside from the chandeliers, you'll notice they layering light throughout every space. Every room is filled with different types of lighting, from statement floor lamps and table lamps to chandeliers and reading lights. And if you pay close attention, you'll see they also light up almost every picture hanging on the walls as well as the mirrors. So they use lighting as another tool for making every part of the room stand out even more. As for textiles, I noticed they don't use throw blankets on the sofas or chairs. Throws usually add a very cozy lived-in feel, but I guess they're intentionally left out here, making the interiors look more formal and grand rather than homey and cozy. Of course, they use throw pillows, but as you can see, they're all very neutral and solid in color. You won't find any mixing or matching of patterns like, for example, what Pottery Barn does. They might play with different fabrics and textures, but definitely not with colors or patterns. And just like everything else, the rugs follow the same style. They're mostly solid, neutral colors, incredibly thick and luxurious. I couldn't stop admiring them the whole time I was in the store. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of traditional Oriental rugs, so I really loved seeing all these simple, neutral, and textured designs. Honestly, this is definitely something I would want to buy from this store, but of course, I checked their prices, and let's just say they cost a fortune, so it's not happening anytime soon. Maybe one day when I become a millionaire. And the last thing I just have to mention and can't leave out, one of the most iconic features of Restoration Hardware interiors is, of course, their perfect, almost obsessive use of symmetry. Every room is so carefully balanced, from the furniture layout to the way decor pieces are placed. Chairs are perfectly paired, lamps are mirrored on either side of a sofa, artwork is hung in precise, matching grids. Nothing ever feels random or thrown together here. It's that sense of order and balance that makes their interiors feel so calm, polished, and grand at the same time. And while it might not be the most relaxed or casual look, it definitely gives off that designed to perfection vibe that Restoration Hardware is so famous for. Alright, and now I want to show you a little bit of what they call the estate gardens. So on their website it says something like, the gallery's expansive grounds encompass 10,000 square feet of private estate gardens featuring exotic tropicals and medjool date palms, complemented by vignettes of RH outdoor collections. Sounds super fancy, right? And don't get me wrong, it's beautiful out there, but in my personal opinion, calling it a garden feels like a bit of an exaggeration. It's more like a really nice outdoor showroom for their outdoor furniture collections. When I was there, it was completely empty, maybe just because it was a weekday and daytime, I'm not sure, but either way, it was a really nice space to walk through. And after walking through the gardens, I decided to grab some lunch at the Rooftop Restaurant. First of all, I have to say the way you get up there is so impressive. You walk up these grand stairs leading all the way to the fourth floor with huge mirrors everywhere and chandeliers sparkling above you. Plus, the views of the store from there are just gorgeous. The restaurant itself is beautiful too. It's built like a glass and steel atrium filled with trees, a fountain, and lots of greenery. The service was super nice, very welcoming. But as for the food, I ordered a chicken sandwich and it was fine, but honestly very average. And it cost $30, which for what it was felt kind of crazy. The chicken they used tasted suspiciously like a rotisserie chicken you would buy from Costco or a regular grocery store. I swear, hopefully that wasn't actually the case and they cook it themselves. So yeah, definitely overpriced in my opinion, but to be fair, I didn't try any other dishes and honestly, I feel like people don't really come here for the food anyway. It's more about the atmosphere and the whole experience. So just to wrap up my thoughts, I think if you love restoration hardware's style and want to create something similar in your own home, it's honestly not just about the furniture. Yes, their furniture is beautiful, but you can actually find similar styles at other stores. But what really makes their spaces feel so special is the way they style everything. It's all about those oversized, dramatic decor pieces that are really hard to find dupes for because of their sheer size. And honestly, to pull off that look, you kind of need big spaces because those huge sculptures and chandeliers, they need room to breathe to look right. What do you think? Would you ever want to style your home like that if you had the space? I would love to hear your thoughts. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed walking around with me and getting a little peek inside. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video very soon. Bye bye.